Morning and welcome. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwebike. We start off today with our newspapers, and right after that will be our main conversation also for today. Please do well to be part of what we do. Have a say in what we say. You can always find and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. We're very so honored to have with us joining us via Zoom. Yes, Emeka Madunagu, journalist, public affairs analyst. Thank you so very much, Emeka, for being here. Very much. I understand that you are currently at your farm and doing some work there. So how is it going on?
The federal government budgeted some millions for fasting, some days of fasting and prayer for food security.
From the Ministry of Agriculture, that is.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture, but natural resources. But we are in our farm, we don't have the millions for fasting and prayer. So we know that God says that he that does not work should not eat. So we are here to work. We don't have agbada. We didn't come to work with agbada. We came in our farmers attire. Because the rains have been falling, so we are weeding.
Yes, exactly.
And then checking our farm, yes.
And that is actually what it should be, a pragmatic approach to agriculture.
That is a hands-on approach.
Yes, exactly. So does that mean that some Nigerians have stated that this is done and dusted? There is no hope again for possible food deflation in Nigeria if the Ministry of Agriculture and Resources will be saying that we should rather go to prayers rather than doing what we should do as good Nigerians?
They are deceiving themselves. Just the other day, I got half a bag of gari processed from just one small part of one of my farms, and very smooth gari. It was processed. So what are they talking about? Food prices can actually come down. The land is available, but farmers don't have the financial wherewithal, and that is a major impediment to us. But if we had the financial wherewithal, if we had the backup, of course we will be talking about hectares of land, thousands of hectares of land, which by the time look at now, the price of maize has come down because, people are now harvesting maize and all of that. But last month, one big cob was 500 naira. But now you can sell 3 for 500 naira. So it is now that, so we are monitoring this trend. But the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Natural Resources should actually be giving us updates, giving us advice. Are you a farmer? This is what you should do. This is when you should plant. You should start with, just like what Dr. Akinwumi Adesina did under the regime of President Goodluck Jonathan. They gave farmers phones that they were using to, communicate with them, asking them how far and all of that. But we don't have all that. We don't have all of that. And so you see, just like all this insecurity and all of that, it is politicians, they are making money from it, from insecurity, from high prices, from inflation. That's why I tell you, Nigeria's problems are man-made because they are funneling money into the pockets of people, and it's sad. It's sad. Where I am now, look at bush everywhere. That if I had the financial wherewithal, I could just take advantage of. But if I pump the products into the market, you will see that the price of things will come down. So when we are serious, we will find solutions to our problems. Thank you.
Very, very true, Emeka. Now, this takes us to the Daily Trust newspaper for today, where we have on the top strip here, a family loses 23 members as many killed in Benue State. Farmers experts flee as Agric Ministry call for prayer and fasting, which of course we had talked about. But let's take a look at Benue. From talking about the prayer and fasting from the Agricultural Ministry and to the food basket of the nation, Benue State, rather than have the citizens and indigents of Benue go to their farm, cultivate food crops for Nigerians, and of course make money in turn. Rather, what we see are farmers from that area that are gruesomely killed every now and then. And up until today, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu hasn't said anything yet. But of course, kilometers away, miles away from here, the Pope, the new Pope, has just stated something about it. Don't you think this is really sad coming from our authorities that haven't said anything yet?
Yeah, thank you. If you look at the tweets Tinubu made around 2012 or so, 2012, 2014, where he was castigating then President Goodluck Jonathan, he was saying that authority comes from the president and commander-in-chief, that it shows a failure of intelligence, a failure of leadership. You know, all of these things were done for them to get into power. They never had any idea of being Democrats. They were just there to grab power. And once they were able to grab the power, you know, I mean, they are just showing that they are there to grab power and to grab money. That's why Tinubu infamously said, you snatch it, grab it, and run with it. He never talked about, tell me one thing Tinubu said about advancing democracy, you know, since he became the president. You know, nothing. So that's why you see the Benue killings. The governor himself is not sincere. The president is not sincere, you know. But you had governors who were there. Samuel Otom, the former governor, really fought for his people. He did so much to keep his people secured. But what do you have here? You have a governor, you know, who is more interested in organizing a few people to hold a rally for Tinubu's re-election. The re-election of Tinubu, who doesn't care about you. You know Tinubu is one person who is not empathetic. He's so cold. He's so distant from the people. He doesn't care. Telling us that, you know, he spoke this morning from a statement released by his media aide, by Onanuga, that he has been briefed. So that means he has not been watching TV. He has not been listening to radio. He has not been reading newspapers. But his office gets a huge budget for all of these things. His media aides get millions of, they get millions of naira budget for newspapers, for magazines, for periodicals, you know, for all of these things, for data subscription. But what they tell him is that, no, everything is all right. You heard the chief of army staff the other day saying he will relocate to Benue. But apparently, he just sat in one guest house in Benue, in the capital, Makurdi, and ran away. That was why you saw, some days later, you saw the headsmen who attacked a section of the state capital. You know, so I think these people, they should spare us all these dog whistles. You say you are relocating to Benue. The headsmen know that you are going to camp in the capital. So they want to test how serious you are. And the other thing is that if you look at it, there's a growing trend in government now that officials of government should not acknowledge that there is insecurity in the country. And it's worrisome. I learned that in one state that if you acknowledge insecurity, that you'll be sacked. I even learned that in Benue State, that the government has warned government officials, public officials, not to say anything about insecurity, that they should not even grant interviews to the media. So you wonder, somebody who is said to be a reverend father, you know, has been jumping up and down, whereas the Pope, his boss, if he was, when he was still in the service of the Catholic Church, his boss, the Pope, has already spoken out against it. But yet, the man is more interested in second. So it shows you when we put the wrong set of people in power. You know, we should be mindful of those we vote into power. This man came with shiny robes. Hyacinth Alia came with shiny robes. Was a reverend father. But honestly speaking, the man cannot even run a street, a CD association, a street association. Not to talk of running a state. He lacks the competence. And honestly speaking, I feel for the people of Benue State, because I wish somehow that they weren't going through all this agony, because it's just a failure of intelligence and also a failure on the part of the governor to actually pinpoint where the problem is. The president was blaming the governor. Absolving himself of blame is also very shameful. It shows you that, look, A lot of these people in power are just as empty. They are empty barrels. They have nothing to offer. And that's why you see the country is the way it is. It's very sad. Thank you.
And it's very true. One would question why then is PDP governors defecting to the APC when those who were voted in with APC are not even getting the attention of the center.
No, that tells you now. Money shows the day. They want a second term. You know, in Nigeria, there are a lot of people who want rewards without hard work. You understand? That's why you see some misguided young people tell you school na scam. You know, that if they get into crime, they get into prostitution and all of that, they will make money faster than having to get a formal education. And so that is why you see the country is the way it is, in a mess. And people just giving you economic theories that are, you know, outdated. Like somebody was telling me, a senior friend was telling me sometime last year, he said, the people you call economists in this country, which textbooks did they use? Textbooks that have been thrown out by, you know, the examination bodies, textbooks that are no longer being recommended by the Ministry of Education. So it is that mentality, it is that knowledge that they are using. And it's the same thing with all sectors of the economy. Look at the military, look at the Chief of Defense Staff saying that Nigeria should fence its border. I mean, I just wonder. And people have been asking him how. Even the United States, that if you look at the border, we don't have that kind of money to fence our borders. But you know, people just come, say anything just to show that they are working. And this Benue thing is clearly land grabbing by herdsmen, by Fulani herdsmen. It's land grabbing. It's the same thing happening in Plateau. It's the same thing happening in Benue. It's just land grabbing. If PDP governors are defecting to APC, it is because they want a second term. And then because some of them also have cases with EFCC, you know, past cases about their past conduct in office. So that is why they are defecting. It's not because they have the interest of the people at heart. Thank you.
Very true. Well, now let's get to the Guardian newspaper for today. We equally have on the top strip here, 2027, Sowore sees no opposition, says APC controls everything virtually. Emeka, it's no gainsaying, of course, but don't you think it is early for decent voices to throw in the towel at this point? Because Sowore, to me, is giving up hope with this statement, saying there's no opposition. Of course, it still belongs to the opposition, but if he is giving every accolade to the ruling party, which means it is home run for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Don't you think so?
The 2023 presidential election, Sowore got 14,000 votes nationwide. Petrol got over 6 million votes nationwide. How many votes, by how many votes did Tinubu beat Atiku and Petrol? So why should I now listen to Sowore who got 14,000 votes? I mean, the man has already defeated himself. He has told us that we should not reckon with him. So why are we bothering ourselves with what Sowore said? I wish him well. If he says there's no opposition, that means there's no point, you know, wasting time with his African Action Congress. There's no need, there's no point. Because there have been accusations, there have been allegations that he's working for Tinubu. That is a mole of the Labour Party in the opposition. So, I mean, that it was the same role he played against Jonathan. You know, is the same, and I brought Buhari in. Then later he turned around when he was disappointed, when they refused to give him any serious recognition. He turned around and started fighting them. It's the same thing he's doing with Tinubu now. So you don't take him seriously. You know, there are some of them like that who are just loud mouths. You know, so you don't take somebody like that. If somebody got 14,000 votes, I won't even listen to anything he says, because as far as I'm concerned, he should face his activism. You know, he should face his activism and, you know, ensure that at least he plays his role as a civil society advocate. When it comes to playing real politics, no. Omoyele Sowore has lost it. He should go and try and redeem his 14,000 votes before I can. He's my friend, like I've always said. I receive those his updates on WhatsApp, you know, Facebook and all of that. But sometimes I just laugh. Sometimes I just tell him, why do you like, you know, just mocking yourself? But sometimes I just ignore him. there are more serious issues of issues facing the nation than the rantings of a man who just got 14,000 votes all over the nation. Thank you.
Very true. But let's take a look at other matters. Petrol price hike, scarcity loom over Middle East tension, tanker drivers strike very soon. And at the same time, we have Dangote saying that he would start distribution of PMS and gas from August the 15th. So does that mean that the barrel per day, the price of crude oil per barrel, which has shot up to $74, does that mean it is not affecting Dangote Refinery or the crude for Naira deal? Is it what we are enjoying exactly?
Yeah, Dangote is only playing true to type. In cement, Dangote supplies his buyer, his dealers and distributors. So that's the model he's trying to move to petroleum. And his tankers are more modern than a lot of these tankers that keep breaking down the road, that keep going up in flames and all of that. Then its tankers are powered by CNG. So definitely what he's doing is he's putting his money where his mouth is. Of course, definitely part of his production is gas. So if he can add to the gas pool, just like we have the ANOH plant in somewhere in Imo State, which is just about taking off, with huge proven reserves of gas. So of course, if we put all of this together, then we can make CNG. At least CNG will look more realistic in Nigeria. So for him to be distributing, he said for big buyers, of course. So they don't really need to bother themselves. He will take that, and that to me is a big boost. That is a big, because when you remove transportation, when you remove logistics from business, that's a lot. It counts for a lot. For logistics, it counts for a lot. And of course, look at the profit Dangote made last year from cement. Billions of naira profit. Of course, definitely, if he takes that model to petroleum, it will make things easier. Who knows? Sometime in future, he might buy over the pipeline, the Nigerian pipeline, the existing downstream pipeline, and then get a better way of distributing petroleum products directly from his refinery to depots across the country, so that we finally scrap the distribution of petroleum products by road. So I think, for me, it's a win-win situation. The naira for crude, yes, is big, but the thing is that the Nigerian media, sorry to say, I'm a part of the media, but Nigerian media, we love sensation too much. People just because they want, because we want to sell, we just go up. Price hike looms because of Middle East war. Have you checked? Yes, the price of crude has risen to 80. Is going to $80 per barrel after it slumped to about $60 per barrel. But it's a market. And definitely OPEC. We also have to look into certain developments, ongoing developments. OPEC is adding 1 million barrels of crude, 1+ million barrels of crude to the market. With the issue in Iran is an incentive, because there was this fear sometime in March that if OPEC went ahead by May to add the over 1 million barrels, that there will be a glut in the market and that the price might dip to the 50s, $50. It even came down to as low as $58 at the point. So, but even if Iran is out, but OPEC adds the surplus from here and there, from Saudi Arabia and some other producers, then the price will stabilize. But there is no likelihood that the price will go to $100 or $110 that it got to under President Goodluck Jonathan. So the 80s, it will still cool off. It will still cool off because discussions are still ongoing, concerning the Middle East crisis and all of that. Even though Israel bombing Iran, Israel didn't consider the wider implications, the geopolitics. I see Nigerians who are clapping for Israel, so I'm clapping for Iran, and I shake my head. That these people don't understand that this war can actually throw you into misery, can actually wreck your economy, can bring your economy down. Because why? Where the war is being fought, there are major shipping lanes, from which, through which things that we import into this country pass, then you have crude from Iran, you have some other things passing through those areas. Now, if shippers have to divert through longer routes, that will be more expensive. And look at just try to imagine the wider and wider and wider implications. That's why it's very important that a solution is found to it. And I'm happy that Russia has said it would mediate, because I don't like the dubious role that U.S. President Donald Trump is playing, using Israel to fight a proxy war against Iran. It doesn't make sense. The damage is going to Israel. It's Israelis who have been killed in this war.
Very true.
Even though there are 700,000 Americans in Israel, but the likelihood of them getting hurt is much lesser than that of Israelis getting hurt. So what it means is that, Donald Trump and the United Kingdom, because if you look at it, the United Kingdom, the hands of the United Kingdom have been in every major war fought in this world for centuries. If you look at all of this insurgency and everything all over the place, you will see the imprint of the United Kingdom, and to some extent France, and to some extent the United States, here and there, just to keep developing countries down, just to keep them down. Look at how Donald Trump hugged the current fellow called the Syrian president. This guy was heading an affiliate of Al-Qaeda.
Yes.
And Al-Qaeda is one of the terrorist groups causing problems in Africa, in different parts of Africa. And their affiliates, Iswa, Boko Haram and others, Mahmouda and, the other ones, are all, and their affiliates are causing problems, killings, and all of that in different parts of Nigeria, around Africa. So for you to now come and hug these guys shows that you don't care about the damage that this guy and his affiliates, have done and keep doing to weaker countries. And this is very, very bad. So the point is that, we don't have much to really fear, because that's why we say that the downstream sector should be totally privatized. NNPC should be privatized, so that let's have a competitive market. Bua Refinery is coming on board very soon. Water Smith has just really started production and all of that. Edo Refinery, name them, more refineries are coming on stream. So we need to privatize the downstream sector of the oil industry so that we can have competition, and then the economy can be better for it. We can have more jobs, and more business in the country. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Emeka. That was really very, good that you were able to really, go through all of those pain points here and there. Of course, what happens in one nation, no matter how far it is, has a way of boomeranging on the rest of the world, and it's so very important that you touched on every single one of them. Thank you so very much. Truly do appreciate you once more, Emeka.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's all we have for this particular segment. And just to let you know, in a bit, we'll be returning for our main conversation. That is when we return. The northeast of Nigeria are currently very angry that Shettima has been neglected on the aligning and return of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu come 2027. So we'll be discussing that with Adiola Shoyinton. That is in a bit. Please don't go anywhere.